Now, I was asked to speak on the spiritual journey, and we are sitting in a hall adjoining the temple of Shirdi Sai So we'll start with Sai Ram. I'm going to talk to you about two aspects of the spiritual journey. First, from my personal journey. If I talk to you about my personal journey, it may take several sittings. So if you have not read my autobiography, then I want to give you a small account of my spiritual journey, because see, ultimately it matters what you personally go through rather than what you gather from books. I think that's very important. So my personal journey, if you look at the outline of it, you probably will understand the spiritual journey, because I'm sitting here before you, I'm like you. No paraphernalia, I'm clean shaven, I'm not wearing jeans, but which sometimes I do when I travel, so that's not the criteria. What I'm trying to say is, if I relate my personal spiritual journey, not entirely, but to some extent, then it's like you're walking with me. Sarvesh ji said, I had a dream of my future guru at the age of 9. Well, it's not a dream, I make a correction there. I actually saw him. When I was a boy of 9 years. Better you read the autobiography, but I need to tell you this because it's the first time I'm coming here. So it's good that somebody knows what's going on. So when I was 9, I was born and brought up in the southernmost part of India, which is Kerala, the last state on this side, and in the city of Thiruvananthapuram, where there is an ancient temple of Sri Padmanabha Swami, who is actually resting with his hand, like Anantasayana. And when I was playing in the backyard of my house at the age of 9, well, I was a normal child to outward appearances, but I don't think I was ever normal. There was something wrong, or I am right, whatever. So, which means what? I used to spend long hours staring up at the sky and wondering what's going on, and sitting inside the classroom and wondering what the hell am I doing inside here instead of going out. She is very happy. So it was not like normal, little different. Whenever I saw clouds, there are no Himalayas, there are no snow-clad peaks in Kerala. It's a coastal region, almost near sea level. But I used to look at the clouds and think that there are these beautiful mountains with snow and the Himalayas. And I used to ask my parents about it. They said, there is no such place here. You have to go to the Himalayas. So anyway, so one day in the evening at around 6, we were playing outside. We meaning my neighbors and myself, all the kids, in the backyard of the house when everybody had gone home and I was alone. And I was just returning back to the house, when I suddenly looked and there was a jackfruit tree. Everybody knows in India what's a jackfruit tree. It's a huge tree with fruit that smell very nice. Some people don't like the smell of it. It's better than durian. And there under the jackfruit tree, I saw somebody standing. It's not a vision, please. I want to make this, it was neither a dream nor a vision. Actually somebody was standing there. So I looked it was a stranger because I have never seen such a strange person in my life. Because in Trivandrum, I have never seen a person. He was, first of all, quite tall and very fair, and had his hair tied up in a long pile, and he was bare-bodied except for a white cloth which he was wearing, loin cloth. And on his neck was a big Rudraksha beads. And he carried something in his hand which I didn't know at that time, that it was a kamandalu. When sadhus, itinerant wanderers, carry in their hands water in a kamandalu. So I saw him holding something weird in his hand, like a vessel. So I was intrigued. Normally the reaction is, when you are a young boy in the evening, if you see a stranger, you don't want to go there, you don't know who he is, confusing. But he did this. My first thought was to bolt. I thought, who's this guy? So first thought was run. But then I was pulled by some kind of force to walk forward. So I went forward and went very close to him. He looked at me. When I think of it now, because I was also a small boy of 9 or so, and was looking up, he was like a big man. He was tall, of course. Later on, found out that he was taller than Mr. Deepak Ratan, who was sitting there, 6'4" or something. And anyway, I looked up. He looked huge, tall. And the first question he asked me in Hindi, you'll wonder how a boy who lives in Kerala knows Hindi, because we are immigrants from across the border many 100 years ago. So we still spoke Urdu at home. So he looked at me and he asked him, first sentence he said was, Kuch yaad aaya? He asked, do you remember anything? I said, no, I didn't remember anything. So I plainly said, no, kuch yaad nahi aaya. Okay. He said, ठीक है, समय होने पर सब ठीक हो जाएगा. When it's time, it'll be okay. That's what he meant. And he put his right hand on my head. Well, I think that was the turning point. That right hand on my head. And then he told me, वापस जाओ, go back home. So I turned and walked back to my house. Another strange thing that happened was that almost before I reached the door, the back door, I wanted to turn around and see if the person is still there. And even at age of 9, I was quite a skeptical guy. I thought, if this guy has jumped the wall and come, maybe he might jump the wall and go, so let me find out. So I tried to turn, but I could not turn. It was as if something froze my legs, so I kept going straight. Then I reached the back in the kitchen, and in the kitchen my mother, I remember, was cooking something. I can still smell the masala. And I wanted to tell her that this is what happened. Again, another strange thing happened, because my throat, my tongue froze. I couldn't speak a word. I could say everything except that. Now this remained frozen for 19 years. I couldn't relate it to anybody. So naturally I went home, I had my dinner, I went to sleep. From that time onwards, every night, around midnight, I would wake up as if somebody has woken me up. And I never learned meditation in my life. I not even thought about meditation except looking at the clouds. So I would wake up. First day I woke up, I sat down, closed my eyes. Then my mother, we all used to sleep in one place, so she, what's going on? So I stopped sitting up. I lay down straight, and I used to feel something going on in my navel here. It was like, for Deepavali you have those sparklers which you light and throw it on the ground. They go like this, I don't know, chakra, whatever. So there was something on here, moving. And the best thing was, it was blissful and nice. So I enjoyed it. Once you enjoy something, then you're caught, you're addicted to it. Good addiction and bad addiction. Of course, I know some people hear the bell at 7 and go away to the bar. So for me, at midnight, this addiction, which is, I'm going to enjoy now. So it went on for many years. I hardly discussed it with anybody, except that people started to notice that I love to be alone, and not too much discussion. When the joint family descended on vacations, I used to run away somewhere and sit because, talking, going on. So anyway, this went on for some time. And at the age of, I met many holy men in and around Trivandrum, who some came, some were already there, some were unknown, but you could make out if you were seriously interested. And it went on for some time. The age of 19, I suddenly felt that I was in a cage. I can't tell you exactly. It was quite a unbearable thing, like I'm in a cage, like a bird in a cage which wants to fly out. I have this terrible habit. If I see, don't take me anywhere where birds are kept in a cage. When nobody is watching, I usually open it. Seriously. So I was I felt I was the cage was of course good. It was a golden cage. I could get whatever I want. But a cage is a cage, right? It's made of wood or iron or gold, it's a cage. So bird was getting ready to fly. So one day when it became too unbearable, I just flew. Flew meaning I ran away from home. And one little regret I have is my parents suffered a little because I just went off. But I couldn't help it. Don't go away anyway, no? Okay. There was this irresistible, I don't know, I couldn't help it. So I just went off. And I traveled here and there. Those days there was no Google. So I didn't know how to reach. What I wanted was to go to the Himalayas. And we had only railway guides at that time, books, so I checked, somehow got it. Money was not a problem. My pocket money was enough, it was quite big. Anyway, I traveled and reached Haridwar. In Haridwar, I decided that if I'm going to trust in God and go, why am I carrying this money? So I had about 12 rupees and 50 paise. So I distributed it to the sadhus who are sitting there. There are all kinds of sadhus. It's not as if great saints, it's full of overflowing with great saints, not like that. Anyway, so I distributed it and then I started walking.